Time of reflection.
Hey, don't scroll. Let's have some time of reflection right now. And as we reflect, let's reflect on just the basic things in life, okay? I'm sitting in my car, obviously, and I'm waiting for my daughter to come out of her testing. This year, there is time of the year, there are the PSSAs. And so because I homeschool my children, I have to take them to a state college where they take their PSSAs tests. So I'm right here and I'm waiting and I'm watching, just observing in silence and reflecting on some things. First of all, a few of the things that I am reflecting on is, number one, it is a beautiful day, okay? It is like the perfect spring day where you just need a light sweater. No coat. I'm just so excited. Coat season is over here in my state of Pennsylvania. And the sun is shining so nice. And the thing that I'm reflecting on about the weather is that it could be so deceiving. When you see that sun shining and you're inside of your home and you're looking on the outside of your home, and you're seeing that sun shining in, you're automatically assuming that it's hot outside. You would automatically assume that it's time for a tank and some shorts and some flip-flops. But I will tell you that the moment you step outside and experience outside a little bit, you're gonna realize that no, I'm gonna be cold if I put my sandals on. I'm gonna be cold if I wear a tank top and shorts. It's not that type of sunshine. And I think that a lot of the times in life in general, when we assume things without having the experience or proper communication when it comes to individuals, it just kind of like will mess you up, and you won't be aligned or prepared, or you'll have your own perception, right? So that's definitely something that I'm reflecting on, and I ask you to reflect on that with me. How many times did you have an assumption about something and then you just didn't, you ran with your assumption? I'm talking about something as basic as the weather. Maybe some of you can relate to looking outside from inside, and you're looking at the weather, and you assumed that it was going to be hot, so you walked outside and you indeed found that you were a little bit cold. Listen, let me tell you something. We can't walk around with assumptions. We have to grow up, and I'm gonna say it just like that. Apostle Paul wrote the book of Corinthians, and 1 Corinthians chapter 13 talks about love. At the end of that chapter, he says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I thought as a child, but when I got old, all right, I put away childish things. And one of the childish behaviors that I see often is people walking in assumption without properly communicating or without properly addressing situations. When we walk in assumption to the weather, for example, we can end up getting ourselves in predicaments. We can risk ourselves getting sick. If I were to walk outside in a tank top and shorts and flip-flops, and it's chilly, but the sun is shining, and I assumed that it was going to be hot because I just looked outside, right, and didn't experience it, I can risk myself getting sick. I can risk myself, getting sick. If my hair was wet and it's a hot day because it's so shiny, right? No, I got to go outside and experience it. Or I got to take on some wisdom and check the forecast and check the temperature, right? And see, oh, indeed, it's actually cold. So like I looked outside, it was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for the summer days when I can go in my, spring dresses or summer dresses. And I'd love to wear my dresses in the summer, but if I were to do that, I'd be so cold and I would risk myself getting sick. And the same is when it comes to us trying to communicate with people. We can risk ourselves getting into some trouble by walking in assumption. So I want you to just reflect this morning with me and just think to yourself, how many times did you walk in assumption with somebody? When it came to individuals, maybe you saw them the way that they were poorly dressed and you assumed that that person was not, as Christ-like as you, and you just thought that you were maybe better than them. Come on, there are some times where we assume things from people just because of the way that they look that day. You can assume so much from people. I've been there myself where I assume things from people, and I'm talking about when in the church, I assumed from an outside opinion where people who weren't in the church that there was no way that people can, and I got myself caught up in religiosity. The truth is, where I was in the church and I was being trained under this leadership, and they began to train my perception when I had my own experiences, and that's just another story. But I began to start looking at people who didn't come to church as like, there's no way that they're in Christ. And that's a false perception. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of people who have a strong relationship with Christ, but they're just on a different assignment as you. We can't assume. We got to grow up, like Apostle Paul said, put away childish behaviors and just communicate. God gave us this mouthpiece. He gave us a mind. He gave us a heart, and they all work together. And in order for us to walk healthy, right? In order for us to not go outside and risk ourselves from getting sick, we have to apply some wisdom, right? We have to communicate, and we have to be prepared. So apply this today. Apply this in your relationships with people, and apply this within your mindset. Sit back and look around you and realize that, like, everybody falls short from the glory of God. And just because someone had fallen short one day doesn't take them away from God's loving mercy and grace. You and I, the church in general, need to do so much better when it comes to the assumption. Because when you lack communication, you run on assumption, and your assumption will lead you into trouble. Church, Christians, brothers and sisters, let us do better, okay? And put away the old, okay? Put away childish behavior, which ultimately in this topic is self-righteousness. Let's stop. Enough is enough already. God bless you.